Chris Kenningham wrote in and said, "Hey, CDC, not on the most recent episode, but one of the last ones, there was the discussion of Ghost of Tsushima's director's cut, but it wasn't about paying for the newest DLC. It was specifically about charging $10 for the PS5 upgrade. I'm surprised to see you all take umbrage with this. These guys didn't have to do a PS5 upgrade. They could have said the game runs great on PS4 Pro specs and left it at that, but they didn't. They went back to work on it and give us a better experience. That costs time and money. So in my mind, it only makes sense that they would charge for it. It's unfortunate that some people give this upgrade for free and others charge for it, but that's the market and it'll do as it pleases. Thanks for the great laughs and interesting conversations throughout the week. Thank you, Chris, for writing in." I wanted to bring this back up, Chris, because we've had a little bit of time to think about it now. And the more I've thought about this, the more I'm like, no, this is totally unacceptable. The more that this has gone on, the more I think, why? Imagine 10 people or 10 million people. I'm sorry. Imagine 1 million people buy this at $10. It's $10 million. So it's not like some ridiculous amount of revenue. It's nice. But I don't think Sony needs to do this. And I feel like it just complicates things and makes the messaging more strange and harder to read. How are you feeling about this now that we've gotten a little bit of distance? Do you feel like Sony should be charging $10 to upgrade Ghost of Tsushima from PS4 to PS5? Because again, I find it completely outrageous.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't think $10. The thing to me is the game feels amazing as it is. Like I really sincerely don't see a real need for a PS5 upgrade, and I also don't know what that would even do. And they've explained what it does. It's like, hey, here's haptic feedback or whatever, and that's really it. Really, like there's an upgraded resolution, I guess, but the game already looks pretty amazing. I struggle to see the value in what they're bringing, especially considering, and not by the way, I want to make it very clear, this is not about the DLC.
Right, exactly.
The DLC should absolutely, the DLC should cost money, and they should charge whatever the hell they want to charge for it, to be completely, like, whatever they feel is worth the price of admission. I just think when you have the competition upgrading for free and just kind of having this smart delivery thing where it just kind of understands where you are and it'll just kind of tailor the experience to the thing you're playing on, and it's really easy, it's very simple, and it works, I feel like that is a superior system than, pay to unlock arbitrary things that are being included for free on the competing hardware. Granted, the DualSense is its own thing, and there's a bunch of features, and I'm sure a lot of work went into, tuning the DualSense to this new version of Ghost of Tsushima. I'm sure the grass feels whatever, or sword swiping feels whatever, or like maybe there's some adaptive triggers in it that are being made use of. But as somebody who doesn't really care for the adaptive triggers, and also who doesn't think vibration should cost $10. I don't know. Like, I can't reconcile in my head that it's okay to charge for this, specifically because what's being offered for this money it just doesn't approximate, in my opinion. It is not worth $10 to just add DualSense support to a game that you've already played. It is not worth $10 to have Japanese lip syncing that isn't really lip syncing because it's just AI generated, like, sound happens, open mouth. It looks like an anime. It looks like a fucking it looks like Gary's Mod or something. It's not really lip synced. It's just AI lip sync to make it a little less jarring. Which, by the way, I feel like they definitely could have fit into the original. I don't see why that was. I don't know. This isn't like some cyberpunk thing. It's not like they're being egregious. I don't think that Sucker Punch is like knocked down a peg by this. I don't think that they're like, significantly damaged in their reputation for doing this. It's just something that's a little confusing because they were so forward thinking with putting their multiplayer mode in the game for free that it just seems it seems like that goodwill is a little bit undercut when they charge for what is essentially glorified vibration, AI generated lip sync that still doesn't look quite right, and a feature set including higher frame rates and higher fidelity that is being offered for free on other platforms when they decide to upgrade. And that's just how I feel about it.
What do you think, Dustin? Because I do want to. I agree with something that pertinent that Chris said here, which is, well, at least it's the insinuation is that I don't think Sucker Punch obviously doesn't itself make these decisions. Who knows what they would have done if they made the decision themselves? But
Yeah.
what do you think, Dustin? Do you think that they should be charging for this?
No, and I think that other companies shouldn't be either most of the time. I think Chris made a very good point that it depends on, at least for me, the extent of the upgrades. Like, for example, Chris, right now you're playing the Metro Exodus. The updates for that are very extensive in their graphics, the ray tracing implementation. To me, that game looks like they could have charged $10 for the upgrade. They didn't, though. They made it free. That's why he said let's see, Chris here, Chris, the person who wrote in said, but that's the market and it will do what it pleases. Well, not everyone in the market is charging for these upgrades. Xbox is not charging for these upgrades when it comes to their first party. And the other thing is too, is that like, this would never happen on PC. There's been a few cases where they've tried to do it. For example, I think like the Dark Souls has done that in certain cases, and it really pissed people off. Like on the PC space, like you get better hardware and the game just, upgrades, which sometimes it's more boutique than that. But again, like with this specific example with Ghost of Tsushima, like it already runs very good at 60 FPS at a high resolution. The things that they detailed, like the higher frame rate and the controller stuff, are cool. The lip sync thing is ridiculous that wasn't even in the game to begin with. The fact that they're like advertising as a feature that you should pay for is insane to me. So no, in this case, I do not think it is justifiable of a $10 upgrade. I'll be getting the upgrade because I'm spending $30 on the DLC, but to just charge $10 for that, I don't think is acceptable.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we're going to see how people react to this. It is a little bit of a mixed bag, but I think you're absolutely right. That would never happen on PC. I think Sony's taking advantage, and that's fine. But I think what they're trying to do, to their credit, is, and I said this about $70 games too, is that they're trying to stand behind the value of their products so that if and when they decide to cut it off, it's not at the very beginning, but rather later on. Because if they didn't charge for this, then they'd never be able to charge for anything ever again. And so I think that that's kind of a concern for them from a marketing standpoint. But we'll see what happens and how people respond when it comes out. I'll be buying the upgrade and the DLC. Actually, no, I won't. I'll be buying the DLC, but I'll be playing it on PS4. Fuck you, Sony.